Content warning. The stories and themes shared throughout this podcast may contain themes that can be distressing for you. If needed, please pause and do what you need to do to take care of yourself. If needed, please reach out to a mental health professional for support.
Welcome back to another episode of Resilient AF with Blair and Alana, with just Blair, but not just Blair. I just want to say Tanya because I'm Canadian. Tanya. Dr. Tanya English. She's dedicated over 35 years to the healing arts, beginning her journey as a massage therapist and evolving into a chiropractor and an energy healer. She's inspired by the belief that we are all born with the innate power to heal. Dr. English's mission is to empower individuals to tap into their tremendous healing potential for their highest good. She has so many phenomenal accolades, and I'm putting everything in the show notes, including her links. What is really cool that she's also a singer. And and what I think is, before we dive into the heavier stuff, in the form. So when someone wants to be on the podcast, I need to collect information like their bios and their photos. And I have a little section saying notes for Blair and Alana. And it's really fun going through them. And so I check them right before the episode. And hers is, I have a theme song for healing with the blues that I could sing on cue.
Ready?
So give us a little snippet of that. Let's start healing with the blues. A little snippet.
Healing with the blues. That's right. I'm healing with the blues. I've got nothing left to lose. That's why I'm healing with the blues. Such a pain inside. The love that's there for me, I have denied. I've never had the blues this long, this deep, this wide. That's why I'm healing with the blues.
I love it. Oh, you're just so talented. And I love your energy,
Likewise.
Thanks. And I love blues. I'm really into blue, lately, the last few years, blues rock. And I'm getting more into blues and country, which isn't blues, but kind of dirt road country, which is sort of bluesy. I love the blues. So
blues is the roots and everything else is the fruits.
Well, so the roots and the fruits, rootin' and tootin' and bluesin' and cruising,
That's right.
But so today I love that part about you. And obviously there's so much more. And, you're also a beautiful writer and you're going to be featured in Resilient AF Stories of Resilience Volume 2. And it's such an honor. And
I'm so excited to be
it's just such an honor. And so today we're going to talk about your experience with the stillbirth of your first child. And maybe you can share your story, leading up to it, and then walk us through that experience.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So back in 1994, I was finishing up chiropractic college in Davenport, Iowa at Palmer College. And I was pregnant and we were newly married and expecting our baby, and everything was going great. I was taking way too many credit hours though. So I was really trying to plow through and get done so that we could spend time with the baby. And that was really part of the stress that I had. But I went into labor and it just never set up quite right. And it would start and it would stop, and it would start and it would stop. And then we realized that there was something really wrong. And the hospital, we were trying to have the baby at home, and the hospital was just blocks away. So as soon as we realized something was wrong, we went to the hospital and they put me on ultrasound, and my husband and I are sitting there looking at the screen, and we can see that his heart's not moving. And we knew what we were looking at immediately. And I turned to my husband, Ed, and I said, okay, are we okay? And he said, yes, we're okay. And that was kind of the way it started for me to really be able to go through this situation. So like I said, we were trying to have the baby at home. The first doctor that came into the room started blaming us and blaming the midwives who had never lost a baby and had delivered hundreds of babies. This is the first time that they had ever lost one. And so she started blaming and shaming, and it was really difficult. My mother-in-law, who's a pastor, was in the room and followed this doctor into the break room and said, "What is going on with you? These people need help and you're making them feel worse." And she said, "Oh, it's just been a really bad day. And these midwives are leading people down the garden path," which is just a bunch of hooey because it doesn't really matter. Like a baby's never been lost in the hospital. I don't know. So she said, "Well, you're off the case." And she fired her from the case. And the next doctor that came in was named Dr. Mim. And that was the name that my nieces and nephews called my mother. So it was like, Dr. Grandma's here. It was just like all these things that were happening. So before this took place, we had some foreshadowing of what was going to happen. We were on our way to our wedding, and I was pregnant when we got married. And on the way to the wedding, we passed a church, and there was a little white coffin going into a hearse. Kind of weird to see. And then we were taking the birthing classes, and our teacher said, "I'm going to show you stillbirths. Still pictures of births." And she's like, "Wow, that was weird." So there were little things like that that were just like kind of piquing my curiosity. Then when I had a dream that we were in an elevator that fell. Yeah, it was very strange.
Wow.
Never had a dream like that before.
And this is all while you were pregnant.
Yeah. Yeah. And then after we came home from the hospital, there were other things that happened, but let me talk about what happened in the hospital.
Yes, please.
So I was lying in the bed. They were doing all the things I didn't want to have happen. Pitocin, which makes your contractions really intense. Epidural, so you don't really feel anything, which is not what I wanted. And they were trying to get this baby out because I don't know, the baby's going to come out eventually anyway. But they wanted to, force the issue. This is medicine. And so I was a little bit overdrugged at some point. So Ed would sit next to me and he'd tell me, "Take a breath in, honey," because I would exhale and then I wouldn't breathe in because it was just a lot of work to breathe in at that point. And I felt fine, but I was also drugged. So I didn't know that. And then as I was starting to come out of this, and the baby came, my sister-in-law, who was a nurse, was on one side, my husband was on the other, and they were helping me push. And it was just an amazing experience anyway, but there he was, and he looked just like his dad. It was just amazing. He didn't look that great because he had kind of bruised face and stuff, but he was our little baby, and we held him. And
did you know it was going to be a stillbirth?
I knew as soon as we saw the ultrasound. I said, "Okay, well, I'm delivering a baby who's already passed."
Did they tell you it, or
no? I could see on the ultrasound that his heart wasn't working,
and the doctors never said anything.
Well, they didn't have to. I mean, we all knew what we were looking at. This baby isn't alive anymore.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it was weird. It was not the scenario I had planned on at all. And there were so many things about it that it was just like, well, I had never had a baby before, so I didn't know what I was missing, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very weird that way. You always try to minimize how bad things are, right? When you're going through it. And the way I look at it now, I don't think of it as a tragedy. I think of it as a huge gift. And, we can think of things as tragic if we want to, but that keeps us in the grief. And really, we want to walk through the valley of the shadow of death. We don't want to pitch a tent and live there. So,
amen. Yeah. So you're holding your baby, and then what?
So I'm looking at, like? I'm having this experience, and I hear this voice, or I have this thought that enters my mind. It's not my thought, but it was, "Do you really believe everything happens to the highest good, or are you just saying that?" And I was like, wow, okay. Well, if I don't believe that, if I decide not to believe that, I could just check out of life. I don't have to finish school. I could go live in a sanitarium. And I just started thinking about that. And I was like, I don't want to go down that road. It's just too awful to think of.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started looking for the good. I'm like, okay, so if everything happens to the highest good, show me the good. Bring it on. I want to see it. And I looked over to my left, and there's my husband sitting next to me, nurturing me, keeping me alive, loving me, and going through it as well. And my sister in love, I call her my sister in love, there with us, going through this too. And my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, friends from school, two friends from school came over. One of them held our son, Eddie, and said, I'll never be afraid of death again because I've held your baby. And just being able to have those experiences with people was so enlightening, really enlightening. I mean, feeling lighter about it and being able to experience it and let all of the feelings happen,
Yeah.
because it's the most important thing is to acknowledge your feelings. That's
Mm-hmm.
what's running our bodies all the time. This is the work that I do. And when I said, okay, show me the good, that means I have to look for it. So there's the impetus for me. Knock and the door will be opened. You have to do the knocking. You have to
Mm-hmm.
look. You have to seek and you'll find it. You don't just sit there and it shows up. You have to seek it. You have to look for it. So the action there is, let me see what's there that's loving, that's for me, that's supporting me
Mm-hmm.
in this experience of my baby dying within me. Because
Wow.
as a healer, and I've been doing massage therapy for years and was finishing up chiropractic college, I'm like, why is this happening to me? I mean, I've taken such good care of myself. I've been getting great care, and this happens. And we decided not to go down the blame and shame route because there's no point. It leads nowhere except to more bitterness and upset.
That's a really,
So,
really good point and reminder. And I just want to say thank you so much for sharing. Like my heart is broken for you. Um, many, many different levels and many reasons.
yes.
And I just can't imagine. I can't imagine. I have a few people in my life who are closer to me and closer as in like I've known them a little
Mhm.
longer.
Mhm.
And
Sure.
they've gone through something similar. And it just to
Mhm.
me, I mean, it's so heartbreaking and and it's interesting because like I don't have a similar story. And I'll talk about an experience I actually had this morning, but something that I want to ask you
Mhm.
that it's been coming up a lot in my life because I didn't have a stillbirth. I had a miscarriage, and
I've had one of those too.
that was my only pregnancy. But did you name your baby?
Oh yeah.
What is your
Edward
baby's name?
Oliver. Edward Oliver, and we called him Eddie-O Spaghetti-O
Edward
because I'm
Oliver.
Tanya Lasagna and Ed's my husband's Eddie
Oh,
Spaghetti. So we thought, oh, Eddie-O, his name was Edward Oliver. Oliver is a family name on my side. And we just love that name, and we just called him Eddie-O. And
Edio.
yeah, and he was he was great. The 9 months that I had him, he was very efficient in his mission. That's what I say. He got everything done that he needed to get done. And one of the things that I talk about is the fact that that breaks people apart in couples. And we don't haven't had that experience. I'm going to show you something. And I
Okay.
did a post on this the other day. This is a tag. It's two pieces of copper. It's very heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And this was melded together.
Yeah.
This is Ed and me. This is what happened to us. We cannot be separated because of this, and we're stronger together than we are apart.
Yeah.
So I had a friend make that for us
Wait, is your
for,
husband's also named Edward?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
That's
Ed,
really beautiful. And do you have it on your wall? Like, what do you
I
do
have
with
it,
it?
I have it on my desk right here. And I have it here, and I have a little seashell on it because I grew up on the sea. I grew up on the beach.
I
New
love that.
Jersey on the Jersey Shore. And that's and I have a heart, an agate heart that's also sits on it too. This little heart.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you, because did you continue to have kids?
So I had Edward and then Edio, and then I had a baby, Sam. And that was like the perfect pregnancy and amazing delivery. I was in labor for 3 hours. It was quite something. And he's going to be 29 in February. He lives in
Wow.
Atlanta. He's awesome. He's very intuitive person and
Mm-hmm.
likes to do lots of different kinds of things. So he plays music and he can do massage and he construction and he's an amazing cook. So he does all kinds of stuff. Then I had a miscarriage after he was about 18 months, and that was really hard too. But because I had some idea in my head that I don't know that I was some I should have gotten on a cruise that went around the world so that I could recover from my miscarriage. I had this idea in my head that I should be on vacation because you know what? I didn't get a vacation from that. I didn't get any time at all, really. I had to
Yeah.
go back to work. So I think that happens to so many women. They don't get any respite and your hormones are all over the place. We knew it was going to happen. We didn't know when because I started spotting. We went in and human growth hormone was coming down instead of going up. So we knew it was going to happen. We didn't know when. And it was a horrendous experience just being at home and having that happen. But I want to talk a little bit more about what happened after we came home from the hospital.
Yes, I think
Amazing
that would be
things happened.
I think that's going to be that's an important part of this conversation. So let's dive into it.
Yeah, the so we come home, no baby. My neighbor comes over. She's like, "I want to see the baby." This is part of what has to happen when this kind of thing happens. You've got to tell people and watch their face fall.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "The baby didn't make it." And she had brought me as a present a living sage plant. And I said, "I'm so sorry. I don't know what to tell you, but this is what happened. And thank you so much." And it was very sad. And it was sad to talk about it for people. And we were very sad, obviously. And we had a candle burning in the house that we lit when we came home. And about 3 days later, I blew it out. And my husband was like, "I was just going to do that." I was also taking a shower at one point and I started to faint in the shower and he knew something. He just knew in his mind something was wrong. He came in and he caught me before I fell. So we were tuned into each other in a way that is unbelievable, I think, and for a lot of people. But to know that you're with somebody who you know what they're like in the worst experience you can ever have in your life and to know who they are is a huge gift. So I know who he is. I know what he is about. I have no question about his integrity and the person that he is. So we get home and we're in the house and we're going through this grief experience and we're crying a lot, and people are coming over and we start getting really tired of being sad. You get to a point where you're just like, "I'm kind of tired of this." We're both very happy people. We like to laugh a lot. And at one point we were standing in the living room and there were all windows and the windows faced the Mississippi River. And a blue balloon went floating by the windows. It didn't go up. It went across all the windows.
Wow.
And I thought, that's Eddie. And I just felt this peace come over me. Like, he's okay. He's a balloon floating around. It's like there was just this peace and calm. And I said to Ed, "Did you see that?" He said, "Yeah, I saw that." We went outside and looked to see if there were birthday parties or something going on around us. Nothing was going on. This blue balloon came from nowhere. Very interesting thing to have happen.
I
We
love
also
that.
had a little dog at the time who wasn't well trained at all, but was really sweet and never did anything like this. she got into the cradle that we had for the baby, picked up a little lamb toy that we had for him, a little stuffed lamb, and brought it over to me and put it at my feet.
Mm.
I don't know.
Wow. I mean, I fully like, there's more than the physical presence of us.
Absolutely.
I totally understand. I think those are so beautiful. Like those signs and those experiences are so beautiful. And like the fact that it brings you peace, I think is so comforting to know that,
Yeah, the feeling of knowing, oh, it's okay. Now, we had to explain this to our two little girls because Ed had two little girls from his previous marriage, and they
Mhm.
were waiting for their new baby brother. And so we had to tell them. And one of the things that we said is, you know what? Everybody's going to die. We all do it. It's not a big deal.
Mhm.
That's what happens. People wear out and they die. Some people die when they're sick. Some people die when they're in an accident. Some people die because they're done. And some people die when they're really young. And some people die when they're old. Some people die in between.
Yeah.
Just going to happen. And so it's okay. It's really okay. And where do you think they go? Well, they go to heaven. The girls knew that. So I'm like, well, yeah, that's exactly where they go.
Yeah.
So you have to get pretty philosophical about it if you want to move through it. So for me, it was like, you know what? We're all going to do it. It's okay. I mean, I don't know anybody that's gotten out alive. Okay, well, maybe one or two people. But
That's true. And I think that's a really like, I guess, like elevated human experience perspective to look at it
yeah,
that way. And I feel like we always carry the grief with us. It's about how we layer the life around our life around the grief. And um how did you like besides these really beautiful signs,
mm.
how else did you move through the grief?
Well, I have an excellent husband, and we were recovering, and we were at my aunt's house, and we were swimming in her pool, and he goes, you know what, I bet there's something every day of the month that we could celebrate. Like, what happened on the first that's good? I said, my sister was born on December 1st. He's like, so there we can celebrate the first day of the month. What about the second? So we're coming up with all these different things that happen on these days. Our son was born on April 13th. And one of our best friends right now, he is got the same birthday. And he's an awesome person. And I love that he shares my son's birthday because he's so wonderful. And just finding things that you can be happy about, that you can say, it's okay. The sad things happen. I felt grief. I felt grief for a while. And then I was like kind of done feeling grief, and we'd have people come over and they'd want to cry with us, and I'm like, oh, I can't really muster that today.
Well,
In
yeah.
fact, we had a friend that came over, and he had just had dental work done, and I was so happy that he wasn't feeling well because I could care for him and not have to have him care for me.
Yeah. I mean,
And
that's a conversation I think for like a whole nother episode because we can go down a rabbit hole about how sometimes other like in our deep grief having to hold space for others, I don't know if I don't think it's fair when others project their grief while you are in the deepest of grief, if you're the main
yeah,
mourner. I had some of that experience with my mom dying and
yeah,
yeah, it's definitely an interesting one to navigate because grief unleashes all sorts of layers of complications and emotions and that's why I do the work that I do as a grief and resilience coach and an expert is working on the proactive approach with here are the tools because it's inevitable that we are going to go through trauma and we are going to go through grief and we're going to need to use our resilience muscle. So,
yeah. Everybody's going to have negative feelings. The important thing is to acknowledge them so you can release them, not try to push them
100%.
down so you don't feel them. So I walked around in the apartment with a buckwheat hull pillow because it was heavy and it had movement to it when I was feeling like I wanted to hold my baby. When my
Wow.
milk came in, that was a whole nother session of grief. But it turned out that the sage plant that my neighbor had given me, when you eat raw sage leaves, it helps your milk dry up.
Oh,
So, okay, great. I have this all taken care of. I mean, it was kind of amazing. And then when we were really tired of feeling sad and we wanted to laugh, this is what happened. We're watching TV, and a commercial comes on and the woman says, there's nothing worse than a yeast infection. And we broke out laughing,
Oh
rolling
my
the floor
gosh.
laughing. Oh, thank God. Thank God we didn't have that.
That's
We just had
hilarious.
stillbirth. Oh my gosh. If there's nothing worse, there's nothing worse. It was so funny. We just laughed and laughed over that. And it was so great.
There's so many, I love that for so many reasons. My sister and I have this thing because like our mom dying was very traumatic for us because it was quite
Mhm.
sudden. And
Yeah.
we have this like when something bad happens, which is worse, this or mom suddenly dying? And the answer
Yeah.
is always mom suddenly dying. And it kind of makes
Right.
going through life very easy, like very little fear. It's like, well, I experienced,
Exactly. At least I don't have a yeast infection.
yeah, at least we don't have a yeast infection. Oh my gosh. I feel like I can keep talking to you forever. So, you have a free gift. It's in the show notes. You
Oh,
want to tell us
yes,
a
that's
little bit
right.
about the free gift?
Is it the powerful personal affirmation?
I think so. Yes, it
This
is.
is such a cool thing. Okay, so one of the things that you learn is that your thoughts are going to create your behavior, right? So why not think good thoughts? So this is a little mini class. It's an audio, but there's also a PDF that goes with it where I take you through how to write this exactly so that you're writing about yourself in the way that you want to feel. So you're using all these adjectives like juicy and honoring and all these wonderful things that you allow yourself to think of. And you end up with maybe one or two paragraphs that is your personal affirmation. And then after you write it, you can always contact me and we can set up a session so I can go through it with you and show you how to really turn up the volume on it. Because there's some things that we can do that just make it work like 10 times more. So it's a
Mm,
really fun little exercise that you can do. I really love it. The powerful personal affirmation is a great way to get your mind on the right track instead of going down the negative road that can happen. It's so easy
yeah.
to do. And you're just picking adjectives that you
Yeah.
like.
I love that. Kind of like Mad Libs.
Yeah, it is kind of like Mad Libs. Yeah, you're
Um,
sticking things in there and you're putting thankfulness in there too.
I love that. Well, I'm someone who very much believes in the practice of gratitude. I have a gratitude practice, but I feel like I could talk to you for hours and I just want to,
Well, I
we're
want
going
to
to
tell
have to
you one
have you
other
back.
thing about
Okay.
healing from this.
Okay.
So that summer, we went to the Mississippi Valley Blues Fest, and I went into the tent stage, and my husband went to the main stage. There's two stages. I went into the tent stage because I wanted to hear the Blind Boys of Alabama. They're amazing. And I had a healing that day. Hello, Kitty. I had a
Hello.
healing that day that was like something I had never experienced before. I felt waves and waves of love flowing through me. And I came out of there different than I
Like
went
on
in.
that stage, like when you're watching the music.
I'm watching them. I'm standing up, watching them. Everybody's standing. I'm jumping up and down, dancing around, and feeling these waves of love flowing. And I met my husband in between the two stages when it was done. He goes, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I am really okay." And fast forward about 25 years, my mentor in blues singing, Miss Gloria Hardiman, Alligator Records recording artist, is best friends with the last remaining original member of the Blind Boys of Alabama because they change. And she said, he wants to meet you. I told him your story. So we went and had dinner with them. And there I am with the men who created this experience for me to have this healing that summer that my baby was died. And now it's 25 years later. And there's two guys still that I see them every time they come to town. Two guys still that are in that group that were there that night. And one of them is the road manager, and he lives in the neighborhood next door to my son in Atlanta.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. And then fast forward another year or two, and I'm delivering Healing with the Blues in the 10th stage at the Mississippi Valley Blues Fest with my band, the Tanya English Band. So we've had these full circle moments that are just incredible. And I think that happens because I'm open to it happening. I'm
Hmm.
looking for those things. I'm looking for those miracle things that happen in lives that say, yes, you're on the right track. This is good for you. This
Yeah.
is what you need to do. And allowing all of that to come to fruition is part of what we do. Letting
Yes.
the negative go and looking and seeking and going for the positive.
Yes, I totally agree. And I mean, it took my mom dying for me to be open. So I completely get it because I'm starting
Yeah.
to see these synchronicities and the beauty and the signs and the full circle moments as well. And I think that's a really beautiful message. One final question for you.
Sure.
What advice do you have for parents who are going through something similar like a stillbirth?
I would say cling to each other and let source in. Because when you're together and you're both putting your attention on source energy or God, Jesus, however you want to look at that, but you allow yourself to look at that and then look for the places where there is love. Look for
Mhm.
those places. Look for the places where there's joy. Because one of the things that happened for me, a friend brought It's a Boy balloon to the memorial we had. That was the only person that gave me a card saying, you had a baby. I actually did have a baby. I had a little boy named Edward Oliver English. And he's been giving me gifts for the last 30 years. In fact, this year was 30 years.
I love that.
Yeah. So
That's, yeah.
stay open to the miracles that are there. Stay open to that. Ask for it. Let it come in.
Yeah.
Because when you start closing down, that's when the problems start.
That's beautiful advice. Let love in.
Yes.
That's
It's
very
it's
beautiful.
there.
It is.
There's so much there. That's why I say in the song, the love inside, I'm denying myself. Don't deny yourself the love that's there. It's there for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just such beautiful advice for any situation.
Yeah.
Um,
I use it a lot.
well, thank you so much for
You're
taking the
so
time to be so vulnerable and open up about one of these, darkest experiences us humans can have. And I really appreciate you
Thanks, Blair.
sharing. Yeah.
I
And
appreciate you doing what you do, bringing all
mm,
this forward. It's a big job,
thank
and it's a
you.
really good job, and you're doing great at
Oh, thank you. It is a very big job out there. You listening to this? It's a big job out there, people.
it.
Please support us. But yeah, and to those listening, thank you for spending some time with me and Dr. Tanya. She's absolutely amazing. I can't wait for you to buy our book and read her story and check out her links and get her gift.
Yes,
And
get the gift. It's so
yeah, get
fun.
the gift. And just know it's okay to not be okay. Life is beautiful and hard and fun and sad and scary and all of the feelings. And you're not alone. You don't have to go through it alone. We can hold hands. We are that lighthouse in the storm for you. You are supported. You just need to ask for help if you need it. So it's okay to not be okay. And just remember, friends, you are resilient AF. That's a wrap for another episode of Resilient AF with Blair and Alana. And thank you for listening. Are you feeling inspired to bounce forward?
Let's connect at theglobalresilienceproject.com, where you can read many stories of resilience, buy our books, shop our clothing line, learn more about how to strengthen your resilience muscle, be empowered, and more.
Remember, friends, you are resilient AF.